Have you ever wondered why some people always seem to win without raising their voice, without rushing, without even trying too hard? Why they stay calm while others panic? Why they walk into a room and the energy shifts? This is not luck. This is not talent. This is mental positioning. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. Most people believe life is a fair fight. They think effort alone decides outcomes. They think being honest, loud, and emotional will earn respect. That belief is comforting, and it is also the reason they lose. Because the real battles of life are not fought with hands. They are fought in silence, in timing, in restraint, in the mind. The truth is uncomfortable. Before any argument is spoken, before any move is made, before any conflict begins, the outcome is already forming inside your head. Your thoughts decide your posture. Your posture decides how others treat you, and how others treat you decides how far you go. This is why the invisible battlefield matters more than anything you can see. Look closely at the world around you. The loudest person is rarely the most powerful. The angriest person is rarely in control. The one who reacts first is usually the one being led. Emotional reactions feel natural, but they are expensive. Every reaction leaks information. Every outburst gives your opponent a map of your weaknesses. People are always watching. Not in obvious ways, in subtle ways. They watch how fast you respond. They watch what triggers you. They watch what makes you defensive. And once someone understands your emotional pattern, they don't need strength to beat you. They just need patience. This is where most people fail. They believe showing everything makes them real. They believe transparency is strength. But psychology works differently. The human mind respects what it cannot fully predict. When people cannot read you, they slow down. When they cannot control your emotions, they hesitate. When they cannot provoke you, they feel smaller. Control begins with awareness. Awareness of your impulses. Awareness of your need to explain. Awareness of your desire to be liked. The moment you feel the urge to react, pause. That pause is power. In that pause, you're no longer a target. You are a variable. The mind hates uncertainty. When you stay calm while others expect emotion, you create discomfort. When you stay silent while others expect defense, you create doubt. And doubt is stronger than force. Because doubt makes people second-guess themselves. It makes them overthink. It makes them reveal more than they should. This is not about being cold. It is about being centered. A centered mind does not rush to prove itself. It does not beg for validation. It does not explain its value. It lets others project their assumptions. And those assumptions often work in your favor. Here is a hard truth. The world does not reward effort alone. It rewards perception. People don't respond to what you intend. They respond to what they believe. And belief is shaped by behavior, not words. When you show emotional discipline, people assume strength. When you show patience, people assume confidence. When you stop reacting, people assume depth. This is why the invisible battlefield is everything. Before strategy, there is self-control. Before dominance, there is restraint. Before influence, there is silence. If you cannot control your inner state, someone else will. And they will use it to guide you where they want you to go. Think about this carefully. Every time you react emotionally, you give someone else the steering wheel. Every time you rush to respond, you lower your position. Every time you explain too much, you signal insecurity. These are not moral judgments. They are psychological laws. The strongest minds are not aggressive. They are composed. They do not seek attention. Attention finds them. They do not chase control. Control forms around them. And it all starts with mastering the first layer of the game, your reactions. If you stay until the end of this video, you will walk away with something rare. Not motivation that fades in a day, but a mental shift that changes how people respond to you permanently. You will understand why silence unsettles, why patience intimidates, and why control is the quiet advantage few people ever develop. This is only the beginning, because once you win the battle inside your mind, every external battle becomes easier. Not because the world changes, but because you do. Once you understand that the real battlefield is internal, everything else starts to make sense. Mental control is not about overpowering others. It is about positioning yourself so that others lose balance on their own. Power, in its purest form, is quiet. It does not announce itself. It lets people walk straight into it. The first principle is simple but uncomfortable. People respond more to what they imagine than to what they know. When you reveal too much, you remove imagination. When you explain every move, you kill mystery. And when mystery dies, so does authority. The mind naturally respects what feels slightly out of reach. This is why restraint is not weakness. It is leverage. Notice how quickly people speak when they are insecure. Notice how they fill silence with words. Silence exposes inner tension. When you are comfortable in silence, others project meaning onto you. They assume confidence. They assume depth. They assume power. You did nothing, yet perception shifts. This is psychological gravity. Another rule is control of emotional tempo. Most people let situations decide how they feel. That makes them predictable. Predictability is exploitable. When your emotional response does not match expectations, you disrupt patterns. Calm where anger is expected creates confusion. Calm where fear is expected creates dominance. The mind of the observer starts asking questions. And while they're questioning, you are leading. There is also the power of selective visibility. You do not need to be present everywhere. Absence can speak louder than presence. When people cannot constantly access you, your value rises in their mind. Scarcity is not just economic. It is psychological. What is always available is taken lightly. What is limited is respected. Underestimation is another silent advantage. When people think you are less capable than you are, they relax. They expose flaws. They move carelessly. Ego blinds faster than ignorance. Let others feel superior. It costs you nothing and gives you everything. The strongest position is often the one that looks weakest from the outside. Timing matters more than speed. Acting too fast signals emotional urgency. Delaying a response, this does not mean inaction. It means intentional pacing. Pause. You force others to sit close. And uncertainty creates pressure. Pressure makes people lose. You gain information without asking a single question. Observation is power that never runs out. While others are busy performing, defending, or impressing, you watch. You learn patterns. You notice inconsistencies. People tell you who they are through behavior, not promises. A disciplined mind collects data silently. And with data comes advantage. Another psychological truth is this. People fear losing status more than they desire gaining rewards. When you avoid public confrontation, you appear composed. When you let others save face, they feel indebted. Influence grows when people feel respected, not crushed. Control does not need humiliation. It needs awareness. Detachment is often misunderstood. It is not coldness. It is clarity. When you're not emotionally attached to outcomes, you make better decisions. You see options others miss. You walk away when needed. You stay when it matters. Emotional distance gives you perspective. Perspective gives you power. The mind also respects consistency. When your reactions are stable, people trust your presence. When your boundaries are quiet but firm, people adjust. You do not need threats. You do not need warnings. Behavior teaches faster than words ever could. All of these principles share one core idea. Self-mastery comes before external mastery. You cannot influence others if you're ruled by impulse. You cannot lead situations if emotions lead you. The moment you stop seeking control over people and start controlling yourself, influence becomes natural. This is not about manipulation for chaos. It is about positioning for strength. A strong mind does not chase dominance. It attracts it. A strong mind does not rush. It waits. And while it waits, others reveal exactly how to outplay them. When you move through the world with this awareness, things change quietly. Conversations feel different. Conflicts lose their edge. People treat you with more caution, more respect, not because you demanded it, but because your presence suggests something deeper. Mental power is not loud. It does not need approval. It does not need permission. It is built through discipline, silence, and patience. And once built, it changes the game permanently. When these principles settle into your behavior, something subtle begins to happen. You stop feeling rushed by the world. Situations that once triggered you now feel distant. The noise fades, and in that quiet you gain something rare. Choice. You are no longer pulled by emotion. You move by intention. Most people live in reaction mode. Their mood changes with circumstances. Their confidence rises and falls with approval. That makes them fragile. Fragile minds are easy to influence. Strong minds are steady. They decide before pressure arrives. They do not wait for chaos to teach them who they are. The shift from reactive to unbreakable starts with emotional discipline. This does not mean suppressing feelings. It means understanding them without obeying them. Emotions are signals, not commands. When you stop treating them as orders, you gain authority over yourself. And self-authority is the foundation of all power. You will notice something important as this discipline grows. People test less. They provoke less. Not because they fear you, but because they cannot read you. Uncertainty makes people cautious. Caution changes behavior. When others don't know how to move you, they move carefully around you. There is strength in being unreadable, not mysterious for attention, but grounded enough to not explain yourself. Over-explaining is a habit of those seeking validation. Quiet confidence needs no justification. When your actions are consistent, words become unnecessary. Another transformation happens in conflict. You stop needing to win every exchange. You stop needing the last word. Walking away no longer feels like loss. It feels like control. You realize that energy is currency. Spending it on ego is expensive. Saving it for purpose is powerful. An unbreakable mind understands timing. It knows when to engage and when to observe. Not every challenge deserves a response. Not every insult deserves a defense. Silence, used correctly, is not avoidance. It is strategy. It lets emotions cool. It lets truth surface. It lets others expose their intent. You also stop chasing approval. This is a turning point many never reach. Approval is unstable. It changes with opinion, mood, and trend. When you stop depending on it, you become internally anchored. Anchored people are difficult to manipulate. They're not pulled by praise or shaken by criticism. Detachment brings clarity. Clarity brings confidence. Confidence brings calm. And calm is intimidating in a world addicted to reaction. Calm signals control. Control signals strength. Strength invites respect. This chain reaction is psychological, not physical. You begin to see people more clearly. Their patterns, their motivations, their insecurities, not to exploit them blindly, but to understand the game being played. Awareness gives you options. Options give you freedom. Freedom is the highest form of power. With this mindset, setbacks failure becomes feedback. Pressure becomes fear. You stop personalizing events and start this emotional more focused, less impulsive. You are no longer inside the storm. You are above it. An unbreakable mind does not rush to prove itself. It lets time do the work. It understands that consistency outlasts intensity. That patience outperforms aggression. That silence often wins where words fail. As this identity forms, people respond differently. Conversations slow down. Boundaries are respected without being announced. Your presence carries weight, not because of volume, but because of stability. You become someone others think twice before crossing. This is the reward of mental mastery. Not domination over others, but command over yourself. When you control your inner world, the outer world adjusts. Not instantly, not dramatically, but steadily. And steadily is how real power grows. By now, you should feel the shift. Not excitement, but grounding. Not aggression, but readiness. This is what it means to be untouchable. Not invincible, but unshaken. Not feared, but respected. Not loud, but effective. Mental power is built quietly, practiced daily, and revealed only when necessary. And once it becomes part of who you are, no one can take it from you.